A lot has happened since my last video that I did on Matt Mullenweg, WordPress and WPEngine. So I want to talk about it again and bring you up to speed of the latest developments. I highly encourage you to watch my previous video, but if you haven't, here's a short recap. So basically, Matt Mullenweg is the CEO of Automattic and the creator of Wordpress. Wordpress is an open source CMS which powers 40-something% of the internet, like almost half of it. When it comes to the WordPress trademark, there's some nuances and some issues around it, but essentially Matt Mullenweg decided that WPEngine, which is a hosting platform mainly for WordPress websites, has been taking advantage of the open source WordPress community and not given as much back, and decided to publicly attack WPEngine at a WordPress conference and writing posts on his blog, basically saying they're a cancer to the open source community, they're trying to take advantage, they've built I don't know how many billion, and they've built $500 million business on top of that and not really contributed much back. And he demanded 8% of the revenue that can be paid either in cash or in contributing hours to the open source community. Now, of course, WPEngine did not agree to this. They didn't really retaliate in any way. They just didn't accept the terms. And Matt went on a rampage of videos and interviews and blog posts to talk all the bad things about WPEngine, and also blocked access to the WordPress org plugin directory for WPEngine employees. Now, this meant that all of the people that are hosted on WPEngine cannot get updates to their WordPress and plugins and themes. And there's been a few lawsuits between both of those in the companies, but basically Matt tried to use the trademark infringement as a tool to punish WPEngine to get the money that he thinks that his company deserves and the WordPress community deserves the contribution. It created a lot of turmoil in the community, and that has still not been resolved, but a lot of stuff has happened, like I said, so let's go through it. But before I start, I want to say thank you to Joe Youngblood that has the timeline of all the things that have happened between Matt Mullenweg, Automattic and WPEngine, and this has been the source of my video. Basically, it has references and all of the things that happened, and also other people coming into the fight and posting blogs and stuff around it, which has been great to structure this video. Okay, now let's dive into it. So one of the first things that happened was Matt first asked for 8%, which was very publicly asked from WPEngine. Then he went back on it and said that deal is not on the table anymore. And in an interview kind of hinted that he might actually take over the company. I think this can be very problematic to say publicly, because he's basically admitting, in a way, I don't know if that's his purpose, but he's basically admitting to trying to bring the WPEngine value down by blocking their access, by trying to drive as many customers away from them, trying to bring the revenue down, and by all of that bringing the whole value of the company down so that he can buy it out at a low cost, which obviously is illegal, I think, but I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I think it's illegal. And saying that publicly in an interview, I mean, just come on. Like, I think one of the biggest issue and the biggest trend I've seen with all of this is that Matt just goes on all kinds of interviews and says all kinds of stuff, which are very telling of his intentions. Or maybe this is all just, actually I need to talk to the camera for this, but maybe this is all planned, like the Kanye West and Adidas thing. Maybe he's just trying to talk all of that stuff, and I don't know what his intentions are, but it seems like he doesn't have very good intentions, and he's just trying to get what he thinks he deserves and the company and the WordPress CMS deserves. In the WordPress Slack, he also asked, should we bring Advanced Custom Fields Pro into core? Now, Advanced Custom Fields is a plugin to basically extend WordPress, and I've used it a lot throughout my working with WordPress. It was an essential plugin if you wanted to build something more than what WordPress allows, and the owner of Advanced Custom Fields is WPEngine. So he has this in the WordPress Slack. You can see all the emojis here of people reacting to it. Also, a side story for this is that a lot of the people that reacted badly to this, like the clown emoji and other stuff, he blocked them on Twitter and he blocked them from his account and the WordPress account on Twitter. So a lot of people got blocked for saying other stuff on Twitter, for commenting on this Slack thread and adding emojis like this. But yeah, more on the ACF stuff later. And then there's talks on Twitter that apparently Matt and his company allowed people to quit and get a good severance package. Apparently they've been offered 6 months of severance or 30K, whichever is higher. And then shortly after this, Matt posted a blog post basically saying that he realized that a lot of the people at the company are not aligned with his vision or things that he's been doing. So he offered exactly that, 30K or 6 months of salary, whichever is higher, so people can quit and move on if they don't align with the vision that he's trying to do. And 159 people took the offer, which is 8.4% of the company. I think that's a big number. But anyway, I think that's a good chance for people to jump ship if they don't really believe what Matt is doing is right, or to double down if they do believe he's right. And I think it's a good thing that he offered this to people. One of the terms here was that all the people would not be eligible to Boomerang, which is what they call rehires. So they won't be able to get rehired by Automattic if they take this deal, which I know, I mean, kind of makes sense. If he is the CEO, then yeah, if you take this deal, I don't imagine you would want to come back. So up until now, all we've actually seen between the companies when it comes to lawsuits and stuff was cease and desist letters, which is not actually a lawsuit as far as I understand. But for the first time, WPEngine filed a lawsuit against Automattic and Matt, and Automattic published a blog post basically saying that a lot of the stuff that they said was baseless or whatever, and they were talking a lot about the term sheet that started all of this, where Matt asked for 8% of the revenue of WPEngine, and they published the full term sheet, which you can see here, which basically gives the right to WPEngine to use the trademark and for a fee, which is 8%, which can be paid in multiple ways. They try to get WPEngine not to fork or make any changes to WordPress core or the plugins that Automattic provides. They're trying to get WPEngine to contribute more to the community, and basically how long this term sheet can last for legally. I'm oversimplifying this, but you can pause the screen here and read it if you want. And I'm also going to be adding links in the description if you really want to go through all of these. They also add their own timeline of all the things that happen, and this goes all the way back to February 2023. I'm not really going to go through all of these, but this is their kind of way to show all the communication that happened before all this went public. Now, the next thing that they do is adding a checkbox on the login page for WordPress.org. Now, this is if you have a plugin or a theme on the WordPress.org directories, you have to log in here if you want to connect it to your repository and provide updates and all the different stuff you do around plugins. And if you want to log in, they've added this checkbox where it says, I am not affiliated with WPEngine in any way, financially or otherwise. And you have to check this box if you want to log in, otherwise it doesn't let you log in. Now, this became viral on Twitter. Basically, a lot of people didn't log in because they were not sure if they were affiliated with WPEngine, if they have websites hosted on WPEngine, if they have clients that they maintain that are hosted on WPEngine. Does that mean that they're affiliated? So a lot of people were not sure what to do, didn't really log in, didn't try to fight this, but also this created a lot of turmoil in the community and a lot of people tried to get off WordPress. I mean, this has been happening since the first public attack. A lot of people tried to get away from WordPress and basically use anything else because it was hurting their business or their websites. At the same time, we're also seeing a lot of people that are contributing to WordPress not contribute anymore. Some of those people are also banned from Slack because of and also some people or companies created forks of WordPress and called them Free WP, or another one that I actually love is called Not Matt Press. And this basically quotes Matt Mullenweg, that he said, if I wake up tomorrow, someone hit my head and I became crazy or evil or something like that, WordPress would be fine. Y'all could fork it, you could Like you could take all of the code, everything that's been created, and make, a not press or whatever it is. If I were ever not a good leader, that software could fork. And it has like a joke around it. And there is a fork here that you can use instead of WordPress. So when the checkbox was added, apparently the accessibility team, where it looks like there were only 2 people in it, could not access could not log into WordPress.org. One of them could not check the WPEngine checkbox, and the other one was removed from Slack. So when the checkbox was added, the accessibility team, which looks like it was only 2 people, published this on the Make WordPress Accessible page, where they're saying that the accessibility team meetings have been suspended. When someone asks why, they say both are not willing to check the WPEngine checkbox in the login page, and one of them was actually removed from Slack. Well, this is pretty bad. And we come to what might be the most outrageous thing in this whole conflict. I probably have to give some background on this, but if you want to have a plugin on the WordPress.org plugin directory, you have a handle, which if you have like a plugin called my plugin, is going to be my-plugin. And whenever users need to update their plugin on their WordPress sites, they're going to use that flag. And if the website is hosted on the .org plugin directory, then the update is going to come from there. So I already mentioned advanced custom fields plugin, but like I said, it was one of the more useful plugins that you can add on your website. There was a free and a pro version, and the owner and the creator was the company WPEngine. So what Matt does here is he forks the free version of the plugin, calls it secure custom fields, and leaves it under the same Slack. So this screenshot here, this is the Slack. It says advanced custom fields, but now it's secure custom fields, the name, and by WordPress.org, where previously it was by WPEngine. Now the problem with this, and their reasoning for this, is saying that advanced custom fields had some security issues that WPEngine didn't fix, but the main reason that they didn't fix it because they couldn't really log into to WordPress.org to update the plugin. There are some rules if you want to use the plugin directory, and one of them says that if WordPress.org thinks that your plugin is not safe or it's malicious, then they can fork it or remove it. So that's what their reasoning was, what they're saying here. So they're saying they're evoking that kind of terms of service or whatever that is to change to fork the advanced custom field plugin, patch the fix, and then put it back on the plugins directory. But adding it under the same Slack as the previous plugin, so advanced custom fields, also keeps all of the installs, which is more than 2 million installs. So more than 2 million websites are using this plugin. So all of the reviews, all of the codes, and now you can see it has different reviews, but all of the reviews are kept because these were the reviews of the previous plugin. All of the changelog, and I mean that's the code really, but all of the reviews, like you can see here, people have been adding mixed reviews since this happened, but all of the reviews were kept from the previous plugin. We can go all the way back to 11 years ago, and this was not the plugin from WordPress.org, this was the plugin from WPEngine, but they've kind of taken it over. Now forking it and adding to it is a common thing that happens on the internet, especially with open source, but taking over is a different kind of thing. And this again creates a big uproar in the community. People are saying this is wrong, all kinds of tweets online, but yeah, my personal opinion on this is it's obviously wrong. It's a takeover, it's not really a fork. They forcibly made all of the 2 million users, if they update, it's gonna change to this version of the plugin, and they're not gonna go to WPEngine's version of the plugin. So basically they lost 2 million users. WPEngine lost 2 million users. That's a big number. So yeah, not a big fan of this. And they go to Twitter and say this is not correct. You can use the WPEngine version if you want. You can basically upload your zip file with the plugin. They've added their own guide how you can do this. And WordPress replies here that this has happened multiple times before based on the guidelines. But again, I don't think they've ever taken over a plugin, not a fork. So that's one of the biggest kind of attacks that I've seen in the community. It's just crazy. It feels like Matt Mullenweg is just trying to force Developer Engine into agreeing to his terms. And now that there's legal battles going on, we'll see how that ends. But yeah, the other big component and what really also went viral on Twitter was DHH, David Heinemeier Hansen, which is the creator of Ruby on Rails and other open source stuff, publishes a post saying Automattic is doing open source dirty, basically outlining the drama and giving his opinion on it, saying that Automattic has chosen trademarks as their method to get their Al Capone, which is basically to get the Developer Engine to agree to the terms, but they were part owners of Developer Engine until selling their stake to Silver Lake. He's comparing to his work from working on open source. He's saying that whatever people use open source for, that's their right if they want to contribute back or what they do with their money and their time. And this is, I think, a good take. It's saying that's the deal, that's open source. I give you a gift of code, you accept the terms of the license. There cannot be a second set of shadow obligations that might suddenly apply if you strike it rich using the software. Then the license is meaningless, the clarity all muddied and certainly lost. Well, basically he's saying here is that under the GPL license they can't really do stuff like this, but if they can change the license. But yeah, he also publishes another post later on, kind of reiterating the same stuff, talking more about open source. And Matt actually writes a reply. I'm opening this from the Internet Archive because he actually deleted the post, but it was kind of outrageously attacking DHH, like going through his things that he's built, how much code he has in his open source against like Automattic's open source contributions, and talking about the trademarks of Ruby on Rails. And also the biggest thing was that he's saying Shopify used Rails to build a 7 billion revenue and growing business. Why didn't you? And then he went back on this, deleted the post, apologizing, said that it was vicious, personal, hateful words poisoned his brain, and that he is sorry. He still outlined some of the things that he said, among which was the updating advanced custom fields to secure custom fields in their directory, providing users of their plugin directory the best, safest, most secure code. It includes security tab that was still not merged by the ACF team. And there have been a lot of other people writing blog posts about it, like me making this video and just talking about the situation. A lot of people that actually contribute to open source and are big in the space, like DHH. They've all weighed in on their opinions. But yeah, one of them is a plugin called Paid Membership Pro, which I think has like 100,000 installs. They've decided to move their code from the .org repositories to their own plugin repository. So the same thing that happened to a advanced custom field doesn't happen to them. This is basically a post reassuring their users, shining a light on what happened. But the take here that I love the most is WordPress.org is Matt Mullenweg's personal website, and there's a source why they're saying that. Matt is also the owner of our largest competitor, WooCommerce. The conflict of interest was always there, but in the weeks following WordCamp US 2024, Matt crossed several lines that make it crystal clear that he has no intentions of running software.org as an open and fair platform. That is his website, he's paying for all the infrastructure and the bills of people using it, but the whole system that's been created in WordPress, I didn't realize that he has the power to do this. For example, if I had a plugin, which I intended to when I was working with WordPress, I could easily be caught in all of this. And well, if I make it rich like WPEngine has, he could have asked for 8% of share of my revenue. But you know, I think this is a good way to saying they're moving their plugin because they were afraid. They're outlining some reasons why. Apparently it was a discussion in their team for a long time, all that stuff. But apparently 2 days after they closed the paid membership listing on the .org repository, Matt sent a direct message to Jason, who's the creator of the paid membership pro plugin, threatening to take over the listing and make it community plugin like they did to ACF. I mean, come on, man. It's pretty disappointing if you ask me, but yeah. There's a lot more stuff in this post. I'm gonna also link it in the description if you wanna go over all of that. But we see that a lot of people are concerned about where this is going, and they're trying to get their work out of WordPress, or if they have plugins and themes, out of the WordPress.org directories, because they're scared that the same thing is gonna happen to them. A lot of people's businesses have been impacted, like this person saying that they had a contract signed that was ready to go for 2025, where the budget for development was 40K, and now they backed out to reconsider the CMS as a whole as a result of Mullenweg's petty war with WPEngine. And a lot of people's lives have been impacted in all of this, which is a scary thing to think about. Usually you don't really think that all this can go away. I certainly didn't when I was working with WordPress. I didn't think that things can just go away like that one day. Luckily I don't work with WordPress anymore, but I think the same thing can happen with other stuff, right? It just makes you think that nothing is safe out there. And the last thing I want to talk about is actually Matt and Automattic made a website called WordPress Engine Tracker, and this tracks all the websites that have moved away from WPEngine to other hosting platforms, and currently says that 16,000 websites have been moved, which is a pretty big impact of websites. I'm not sure how big of a percentage this is of all the clients of WPEngine, but I think it is a sizable impact from all of the stuff that has happened, because he blocked access for people updating WordPress. They've taken over advanced custom fields and just all the drama around it. I'm not sure where they get this data from, but there's a CSV file that you can download with all the files, a guide that they've published how to move to other hosting platforms. But yeah, this does feel a bit petty if you ask me. The website I use for all the events that happen summarizes the WordPress engine tracker beautifully, saying that like a calculation how much money they've lost, saying that this will make it extremely hard, in my honest opinion, for Automattic's attorneys to argue they were not trying to harm WPEngine's business. They built a website to gloat about it. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, all of this has been really crazy, the whole drama and everything that's happening between these companies. It is kind of entertaining to watch it from the sidelines and not really be impacted by it, but I feel for everyone that has been impacted by it, all the people that have lost business over it or trying to move their websites to other CMSs, because it powers 43% of the whole internet. It's gonna have a big impact, and I'm curious to know what percentage of the people have moved away. If also a lot of people that were contributing to open source, they stopped doing that. A lot of people were banned from doing that as well. It's just a big mess. It's crazy when you think the amount of impact that this can actually have. If Matt goes somehow fully berserk and just breaks WordPress completely, like 43% of the websites, that's a big number. But yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Happy to discuss any stuff that has happened or something that didn't really cover well. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the day. Happy coding. Bye.